Ended up ordering a set of used solenoids. That's all I can get right now. It actually came with the harness, and so these two are actually for the dog clutches, A and F. It's actually the same numbers stamped back here. This was from the Dodge counterpart, which doesn't have a third one of these, which is the Park one, but it does have both versions of transmissions do have the obviously have to have the dog clutches, so they do have these two solenoids. Those are the two in the middle. These two here, and if you notice this again, there's some yellowing, browning at the bottom. And that one has similar discoloration at the bottom. This one does not. So even before just popping one of these on, I'm gonna bench test them, check to see if one of them is shorted, because I don't want to just go ahead and throw them on assuming that they're good, and then I just want to confirm visually, electronically, that they are good, or one of them is definitely good. Well, this is the one that's not colored. So go in and zoom. Want to look, make sure it's not shorted, which it's clearly not. And as far as the amperage level, it's right at 1.2. So now I'll swap over to the one that has some discoloration, do the same thing, and I'll make my decision. Okay, that was the second one, and it's not shorted, but it is going at a little bit higher on the amperage, so maybe telltale signs of down the line. But based off of that, I am going to go ahead with this one, install that, and get that put back in the car. Okay, so we got everything put back together. We kind of just got the battery hanging. For right now, at this time, we are just looping the cooler to not have coolant mix in any further. And we are filling the tran. We filled it already. Now we're going to do the fill while run. And yes, this is not the correct fluid, but for right now, for testing purpose, and the fact that there's still going to be a lot of contaminated fluid and coolant in there, this is what I'm going to run it with just for right now to check the electrical portion of the transmission. And we'll always go from there on doing the flush. If obviously we're going to be flushing, I'd rather flush with this fluid for right now until we can get it to a good point. But nonetheless, this is more to see about the electrical portion. And we've not cleared any codes. We just put the battery on. We'll see if it works as far as getting out of park. Okay, so we're in the car now. I will go ahead and key it up without starting it first. And we are in park. I think I'm just gonna start it up first to let it run and then see if I can engage gears without it reverting back to park. But I want to do that quick because also I'm supposed to be performing the transmission fluid fill procedure at the same time. So I'm going to do that first quick. Then I'll have to turn the camera off and finish the transmission fluid. So it starts like it always did. And drive. Okay, I have some RPM. The wheels are moving. Put on brake. Neutral. And it popped back into park. But let me see if it's because of that. So let's see if I can get. Okay, so it came back out of park. It's in reverse. Put on brake. Let's go to drive. Let's go on the drive without reverting. Let me see. Okay, so door's closed. It didn't pop back into park from neutral. Let me open the door. Okay, so that's that. So we're in park again. Don't want to let it run too much, but I would say we are good to go. So clearly we know we put a non-shorted solenoid. We were seeing that create a problem. We don't have that now. And so I'll probably just get a quick shot of the scanner and then I'll continue with the finishing up the actual transmission fluid procedure for right now. So I am in the transmission. So that means that there's a code in transmission computer, so it tells you basically to go look over there at the PCM. But there's nothing related anymore towards any electrical stuff with the transmission, and we clearly saw it act correctly. And so now I can continue forward with doing the rest of the service. Okay, so this Acura, as you can see, it's finally fixed. No more trouble codes, no more transmission electrical problem. It goes into gear, stays in gear. We clearly know it's going to do that because we saw on the scope the shorted solenoid and which one specifically, which was causing the trouble codes. Now, I'm not sure if anyone truly out in the field would go to this extent. You can pretty much basically have said install a transmission, and on this particular situation the problem would have been fixed. You don't know exactly what fixed it, but the fact that there's an external harness that goes from the valve body to the transmission computer, and then you have a transmission computer that's external, and then you have an electric shifter that's inside the car. any of those things could come into play when having an electrical problem. So it's important to try to diagnose exactly what's going on based on the symptom and or trouble code and try to rectify that. As far as for me, I like this kind of stuff to be able to pinpoint to the all the way down to one actual small, literally one solenoid component that's causing this problem, and to be able to replace that and rectify the problem. I enjoy that. Now again, not much not many people are going to go to that extent. You normally in this situation would have to replace the whole valve body, which comes with solenoids. But as we all know, there's parts problems right now with difficulty getting things, availability. Even for me, getting these solenoids was a little bit of a pain. But if you can fix a problem with a repair like that, and you know you fix the actual problem, then the car will be fine. You shouldn't have to have any worries. So basically what this was a walkthrough of a logical approach of how to diagnose for a problem, and trying to show you testing methods, what to look for, what it looks like on a scope, what looks like good and bad, how to narrow down and just target a faulted problem. And so that's more of my main goal, is to get that information out there, because this can be applied to not just this particular situation, but other systems on the car that have components like this. It's just about trying to show testing methods. And again, for me, I enjoyed it. I was able to bring back a car with a bad, basically, transmission situation by replacing a single solenoid. Granted, it's a lot of testing, trying to use your head, trying to be patient, so on and so forth. So not to blabber too much, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you followed along. I hope that I didn't confuse you or lose you too much when I was just trying to explain the whole Honda information that I found was kind of basically incorrect with naming some of their solenoids, so on and so forth. So I also wanted to put that out there as a clarified information if anyone ever wants to test these solenoids. And it's also, these transmissions come in other models. They're in the Dodge line, they're actually in the Range Rovers, other Hondas, so on and so forth. So they're going to be common, or you're going to see problems with these. So hopefully this will help somebody with trying to figure out problems. Other than that, thank you for watching. Yes, we've got other further mechanical problems. The tranny needs to be flushed multiple times, and correct fluid has to be put in, so on and so forth. The cooling system needs to be flushed. The mixing of the fluids needs to be rectified. But for now, I'm just here to get this car running. He can take care of the rest. He's fine with that. So the car will be leaving once I get it buttoned up and running and moving all on its own without any codes. Thank you for watching. That's all for this one, and until the next one.